Have you ever wondered if caffeine actually helps improve your athletic performance? Did you know that only 50% of people that use caffeine see a benefit? Did you know that the answer to determine whether or not caffeine works for you lies in your genes? Hello world, it is day 2. I am tired. That's it. I don't know about you all, but one of my biggest struggles lately has been getting out of bed and just get moving and getting things done. So I'm hoping by, shooting all of this stuff, that'll help me kind of roll out of bed and say like, all right, I gotta actually be doing something and keep myself busy. But yeah, that's definitely been one of my limiting factors lately, as of late. But like I said, we gotta get this train moving, because if it stays at the station, we are not gonna meet our deadline, and that's going to suck. But a couple things that I'm going to talk about today. Caffeine intake. So I don't know if any of you have ever tried using caffeine as a performance enhancer, but it's actually like a 50% chance that caffeine works for people. I actually didn't start using caffeine until after I graduated from my undergrad, and part of that was right around the time when I was taking a lot of like my culminating ex-phys courses and whatnot. In one of those courses, it was applied exercise physiology. One of the topics that we talked about was ergogenic aids, and obviously caffeine is one of them. It's like one of the more popular ones, and just like kind of learning about the purpose of it and what it actually does, and mobilizing free fatty acids helps to preserve some of that glycogen utilization, primarily for like endurance events. That's like one of the biggest enhancements. But then for like non-endurance events, helps lower that threshold of recruitment of those higher level motor units, type 2 fibers, things like that. It's a neurological stimulant. So, helps fight fatigue or makes you feel like you're more aware. But those neurological effects, they start to diminish, right? I mean, if you have too much caffeine, then you have to take more caffeine because you get sensitized and you need more and more and more to have that same effect. But physiologically, you're always going to have the same effect. Even if you're habituated neurologically, you're still going to have the same physiological effect. So you're going to get the same mobilization of those free fatty acids. You're still going to get that heightened SNS or sympathetic nervous system output. So your heart rate's going to be elevated. You're going to have all of those same effects. And so that's another reason why, like, for me, I don't have more than 1 cup of coffee a day, or sometimes I'll have 2, mainly because I've actually just liked the flavor and taste of coffee, and I drink my coffee black, because they're just kind of like beer, right? Like you gotta taste the flavors. But yeah, I mean, so I started experimenting with it, and I really enjoyed it. It could have been a little bit of a placebo effect, but I mean, I felt a little bit better in some of my runs, especially in the mornings and whatnot. And so, I mean, it's kind of just been my go-to, and ever since then, like, I've just really enjoyed coffee, just like the taste of it, being able to have the different brew methods and whatnot. And if you've followed me on Instagram, you know that I've done all kinds of different ways of brewing the coffee. I did a batch of a Japanese iced cold brew, or iced coffee, not cold brew, and it was hotter yesterday, and now it's overcast, but it's still good with ice anyways. I love that. But talking about caffeine, 50% of people will have a positive response to it, and all of that has to do with your genes. Yeah, but there's like a specific genotype. It's CY CPY, no, C2Y, CPY, CYP1A2. I just looked that up. But yeah, so part of it is within that genotype, there's either AA, AC, or CC. If you're AA, that means you are a fast responder. You are going to metabolize caffeine, and it's going to have a positive effect, specifically for endurance events. If you are AC, you're probably not going to have any effect whatsoever. It's just, you know, like you can drink caffeine and whatever, you know, performance-wise, there's really no benefit. And then if you have a CC genotype, those individuals actually had a diminished return. So they performed poorly. The study was a 10-kilometer cycling test, and those guys just did not do well. And so one great way to figure out if you have that genotype is if any of you have ever done 23andMe and you have like you look at the genetics part of your results, it'll actually tell you, you can look up that specific gene, the CYP1A2, and it'll tell you AA, AC, or CC. I remember when I got the tests done, the 23andMe, and I found out about the genotype thing, that was like the first thing that I looked up. I was like, oh my god, do I have it? All this time, has it been a placebo? And I am actually AA, so let's go. It actually works. I would still drink coffee even if if it didn't work, I probably would drink coffee outside of my training run, so I wouldn't use it as like a pre-run, because if I'm a CC and I've got diminished returns, like the coffee betrays me. How could you? It's turned to the dark side. No, but it's great. But I'm just glad that I actually have the genotype to support the positive effects of caffeine, because that would be heartbreaking to find out that I'm a non-responder to caffeine. And there's like other ways that you can ingest caffeine, like Noon. Here, I'll show you. They have like their Sport Plus caffeine, and then Noon also has, where are you? Their energy line. This one actually tastes pretty good, the Watermelon Burst. So it's mainly for caffeine. I think it's funny when they say energy for things like this, because in reality, like, I think that's more of like a social thing. Like we associate energy with like being alert and being awake and all that other good stuff. But from a physiological standpoint, energy is sugar. And that one's only got 4 grams of carbohydrates, and like the other ones, like their sport line and everything, it's usually just at most 2. So really you're only getting 2 extra grams. That's what, 8 extra calories that you're getting out of the Noon tablet, and that's not really like energy. You get me? Maybe it's just me. I think it's funny. It's just one of those things that the physiologists in the world, they know what energy is. But yeah, caffeine gives you quote unquote energy. It just makes you more alert, and that's assuming you don't use and abuse caffeine. Because man, I remember when I was working at Panera, and some of the people there, they'd be having like 5 or 6 cups of coffee or like 8 espresso shots to get them through their shift, and I'm just all like, what? And at that time, I wasn't drinking any coffee, so like I was the outlier. I was the weird one. But I couldn't, even now that I'm actually drinking coffee, I cannot fathom taking that much caffeine. I remember one time in high school, we took this energy drink called Spike. She's ready to go for a run again. We took this energy called Spike, and I downed it because, you know, you're in high school and you're stupid, and oh my god, I thought I was gonna die. Like, my chest just felt like it was like pounding, gonna come out of my chest. My heart was pounding, and it felt like it was going to be, you know, pop out of my chest, and oh my god, that was so scary. Like, after that, like, I never mess with energy drinks. I take that back. One additional time that I took energy drinks, it was in a summer, one of the worst jobs of my life. I won't disclose what that job is, but those of you that know, you know I've talked about it. And I had the least amount of sleep, the most hours worked per week, and Yeah, I was living off of energy drinks. It was terrible. You know, for the longest time, for as long as I can remember, I think even when I was in youth track and cross country, my go-to pre-run meal has always been Eggo waffles. Before Stranger Things kind of had this little resurgence of eating Eggos, I feel like everybody was like, "Oh my God, Eggos!" When that show made it popular. I don't know if you've ever seen Stranger Things, but yeah, if you have seen it, you know what's her name? Elle loves Eggos, and I felt like there was like everybody just wanted to eat Eggos again. But man, I liked it before. It was cool. All right, so we finished up our breakfast. We are going to be heading out for another 30-minute run. My coach has got me for, let's see, easy run, 20 to 40 minutes. We'll probably go about 30 again. I woke up a little sore this morning. Part of that was from the gym. Man, she just loves that toy. That is honestly her favorite toy. My sister got her that toy. But yeah, so we're going to go about 30 minutes. Woke up a little sore. Not too bad. Once I actually started moving around the house, it kind of, the soreness seemed to have subsided a little bit. So that was also kind of nice. But we'll see how this goes. It's nice weather outside, honestly. I actually prefer cooler weather, especially like the overcast. You know, the only downside is like if you start to heat up pretty quickly, then you get all sweaty, and then I'm gonna probably keep my vest on. Otherwise, if my shirt gets too wet and then it's cold, that makes it worse. So we'll see how this all goes. But yeah, day 2, we're gonna get this done. I will see you when we get back. Boom.
All right, the route that I take to get to Hansen Dam, up until this point, we're at 1.92 miles at 15-minute mark, and we barely dented the dam. Like that's as far as we got. I mean, the start is like right over there. So I used to be able to get a lot farther for a 30-minute run. So it kind of sucks, but you know, like I said, respect the process, stay the course. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. So we're gonna head on back. Got another 15 minutes, and Nala's doing pretty good. This is easy for her. Right, babies? Right, Nala? Nala? Yeah, this is her happy zone. But this overcast is pretty nice. Right when I got outside the house, there was a little bit of a sprinkle. So I was like, great. Of course it would start raining right now. But it was just that, a little drizzle, and we're all good now. Point of view, doggy. How many of you would have rounded out the 4th mile? I stopped doing that quite some time ago. I go time based. I actually go to the nearest whole minute though. So if I came around and it was like 30 and like maybe 20 seconds or something like that, or 15 seconds, I would keep running until 31. So I fixed part of the OCD, the mileage part, but not the time. Like there's always going to be that little bit of runner OCD that we have. I think it's kind of funny, but yeah, we finished up. So we're going to head inside, get some rolling, get some stretching, and we'll see you in a bit.